and gone.
What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of Frolfcenter, presented by Frolfer Magazine. I'm Austin Lytle. This is episode 52,
Woo!
Gentlemen.
1 year, sort of. A little more than a year, but 1 year in the episode's worth. So congratulations to us, I guess. Woohoo, right?
Yeah, we're celebrating G13s as usual.
G13's usual. I went halfway crooks. I'm Adam. I'm an 890 rated player, and I'm kind of annoyed about it. Don't forget, there's an ADGO monthly bag tag event this Saturday at Hunter Memorial Park in Douglasville. $10 to play. That gets you in on the action. That pays for the insurance. That gets you CTPs, the whole kit and caboodle. $10. 9 a.m. signups, 10 a.m. tee off. If you haven't already got yourself a whole sponsorship for the Atlanta Women's Disc Golf presents the Southeast Masters Championship, that's how you do it. PayPal that address, send them some money. Look up Atlanta Women's Disc Golf on Facebook if you have any questions. And finally, a shout out to the Entitled Atlanta Disc Golf Club Putting League at Red's Beer Garden right here in Atlanta, Georgia. I try to shout those guys out every week because I can't go because they did this on Thursday nights, and I think they did it despite me, and I'm mad. Anywho.
What's up, everybody? Thank you so much for tuning in. I'm doing a little Hop Fly Summer Crush again tonight. Loving it. Same thing every week. We got weekly action at Lee Farm, and now I'm running singles at Forest Hill. Ace pot for doubles on Wednesday is $180, so we will see you there.
Nice.
Not bad.
And
Not bad.
like and subscribe our YouTube channel. Like and subscribe our YouTube channel.
Yeah, if he says it 3 times, it'll actually happen. Okay, so tonight we're going to get right to it. We are absolutely honored. We have one of the most successful and influential disc golfers of all time. This is a 5-time world champion, a 2-time U.S. Masters champion, a 2-time Masters Women World Champion, a Disc Golf Hall of Fame inductee, 4-time Player of the Year, Senior Player of the Year, Pdga Board of Directors member, the most wins of any Pdga member in the history of the dang sport. This is absolutely an honor. Ladies and gentlemen, it's Elaine King.
Hello,
Hey,
everybody.
what's up, Elaine?
We're going to get you on the big screen, Elaine. There we go.
Hey.
Perfect.
Elaine.
Hey, Elaine, welcome.
Yeah, welcome. Thank you again for coming on. This is definitely the biggest guest we've ever had on. You are on our Mount Rushmore, of course. So we got
You flatter me.
we got 3 more to go. So I know you were on the Nate podcast. We got to listen to that, but we'll ask everybody always, what was your very first disc golf experience?
Okay, my very first disc golf experience was with the man I just married that summer, and he noticed a poster advertising the Canadian disc golf the Canadian Frisbee championships. It was Frisbee, so it was all kinds of disciplines. And he went with me intending to see freestyle, I guess. I wasn't really knowing what to expect, but they weren't freestyling at the point when we got there. They were playing disc golf. So that was my first experience observing disc golf, which I thought was pretty strange, I gotta say. Very, very strange. But I found myself the very next weekend with my husband and the backyard Frisbees that you throw around playing on the Toronto Island disc golf course.
Awesome.
And that was the first step of a very long history.
Yeah. What about the last round you played?
Well, the last round I played, I wasn't particularly happy with. It was at the UNC Chapel Hill course.
Okay.
Just could not quite make the birdies, and had a good time though. Was good weather, good company. Didn't get rained on. It's always a good day when you don't get rained on.
Yeah, for sure.
I think my very first tournament I got rained on, and I was starting to second guess myself. What about a favorite win of yours? Maybe the first world title, maybe the last one?
Of the 299,
Yeah.
what is your favorite?
And I don't know which number this win is, but it's one of my early wins was in 1987. in Peru, Indiana, at a tournament hosted by Alan Peer. And it was part of a very short-lived World Cup series that featured a number of tournaments in the US and was intending to also include some tournaments in Europe. And it didn't quite roll out as expected, but there were a number of very good tournaments in that World Cup series. And it was my first big win in 1987. And it was very special because I actually had no idea that I had the capability of winning that event. So the whole thing ended up being quite a surprise to me. I mean, right up until almost the last hole, I just sort of assumed that Vanessa Chambers was going to charge back and win because, you know, she was the world champion and I was nobody. But yeah, when I won that event, that was the most amazing feeling. Just, I mean, literally, it felt like I was walking on air. I didn't really understand that expression till that moment in time, and now I understand what that expression means.
Does the win still feel the same every time you win a tournament?
Wins are different. You know, some wins you have an expectation that you should win, just knowing your capabilities and the capabilities of your competition. Other wins, you know, you go into it, you're not sure, either because you've got, you know, some very talented competition, or maybe even because you're not playing your particularly best. You're not coming in with confidence. So yeah, every win is different. Some tournaments I'm very nervous at for the entire tournament. Other tournaments I'm quite relaxed.
Yeah.
It's every experience is different.
I think that's a little bit of a learning experience. I'm just taking this all in. I'm blown away at everything you've said so far, and we've only asked one question. Like that is a learning experience in itself. Like, you have to go into a tournament with that kind of mentality sometimes, and you know, or else you're not going to play to your full potential. And if you're feeling good and you're playing good and you expect to win, you think you should go into a tournament feeling like you should win. But anyways, yes, this is awesome. So you're with MVP now. You've been with several different brands. What did Will Davis say to you?
Two
brands.
Two.
Just Discraft and MVP?
Yes.
So what did Will Davis tell you about MVP?
To tell
how did he lure you into it?
Will Davis is trying to rewrite history and take the credit for luring me to MVP. But you know, I'm sorry, Will. That's I have to be factual. I'm a scientist, so scientists have to tell the facts without emotion. Right. So the way I got hooked up with MVP is I had left Discraft. I did not have a plan. All I knew was, you know, I came to a rather soul-searching decision that it was time to leave. And I was just having a lot of fun throwing different discs. And, you know, I mean, there's so many out on the market. It's quite overwhelming. So I went to, you know, the few boxes of random discs that we had that, you know, you get as a CTP or you get as a player's pack. And I started rifling through them and throwing them and posting on Facebook about what I thought about the various discs. So one of the discs that I threw was a Wave, which is one of the most popular discs that MVP sells. And, you know, I quite liked it. So I described its flight and what it did for me. And one of the MVP fans caught sight of that and, you know, alerted Steve Holloway, the team manager, to my post. And then Steve contacted me. And so we started a conversation. And, you know, he sent me some discs. I tried them out. We talked back and forth. And, you know, we took our time, but we gradually became more comfortable and had kind of a meeting of minds. And, you know, I was liking the product and liking the way they ran the company and, you know, the way they dealt with their fans and with their team. And, you know, I felt really comfortable that was a place that I wanted to make my home.
I love it. So you said the Wave has been the longest one in the bag. I assume.
Oh no, I didn't. Actually, I stopped throwing the wave.
Oh no!
So what's
So
what's
it
what's
kinda
the mold that
lured
you
me
go
in.
to now the most?
What are my favorites? Well, I love the Vanish. Love. I
Vanish.
throw it in the proton and the neutron plastic. And it's a fantastic disc for woods golf. So I'm
So-
living right now in North Carolina. So like I don't see clear daylight ever. It's just,
That's
it's just
great.
a bunch of trees and, I never have to wear sunscreen.
Great in the
And so the
summertime.
Vanish does really well. When I get out into the open, I'll pull out my Fission Photon. And that
Fission
is
Photon.
my signature disc. So it's my first signature disc. It's
That's
MVP's first signature disc. So it's a really special disc.
That's pretty
More
well
history.
deserved.
Just
I've seen Matt Dollar throw your Elaine King Fission Photon several times, and it does well for him.
It probably goes farther when he throws it.
Right.
What's the newest mold that's made your bag from MVP?
Oh,
Are
that
you allowed to throw Streamline as well too?
Yeah, absolutely. MVP Axiom and Streamline.
Right.
The newest addition to my bag is the Eclipse Reactor.
Nice. That's overstable, right?
The Eclipse plastic is not quite as overstable as the Neutron. So yeah, everyone was raving about the Neutron reactor, and I threw it in practice, and I thought, well, if I'm in Oklahoma playing disc golf, that'll really come in handy. But I felt like it was a little bit too stable. But then the Eclipse plastic came out, and it's a little bit less stable. And it's kind of like, okay, now that's something I can work with.
Oh yeah. Is there any particular weights you look forward to? You look for, or you ask them for to send you?
Yeah, in my drivers, I'm kind of settling around 165. But my mid-ranges and putters, about 170. I haven't thrown anything super light with MVP yet, but if I actually like to throw light discs if you get in a situation where you have to throw an extreme uphill.
Oh yeah, it's way easier. It's way less effort.
Yeah, that helps a lot. But yeah, I've found in the past if I mix my weights, it ends up affecting the accuracy. So I need to really keep to a more of a narrow weight range.
It's
Okay,
almost
hold on,
like
let me
you're
write
reading the
that down.
script, Elaine, because my next question literally says, you've said before you value accuracy over distance in your particular style of game. First of all, do you think there's a little bit of a stigma for quote-unquote safe players in this modern version of the game? And do you think the game is evolving to maybe squeeze out some of the safe players and keep the more athletic folks afloat?
Well, the way the game is setting up now, especially with the type of courses that are being used for the national tours and the Disc Golf Pro Tours, they're courses where it's a little bit easier to film.
Mm-hmm.
So we've gotten away from where disc golf started because, Ed Hedrick loved nothing more than putting a disc golf course in the woods. And, many of the early courses were heavily wooded. And it was all about accuracy. But it's really hard to film in these situations. And also the disc technology obviously has progressed to the point where players can throw, vastly farther than they ever could before. And you can get different types of challenges as well with longer throws. So, I like a lot of the courses that there are now. I mean, they're definitely longer, and sometimes I'll go to a big event and think, I can only get about 300 feet. I can't compete. But the courses, if they're well designed, there's landing spots, and accuracy still remains very important for that upshot. And so, in the last couple of years, I've surprised myself often at how well I can place in the big events.
Yeah, just by playing your game, stay within your circle.
Is there a course that you could say might epitomize the modern amalgam of the game, like where it stands today? What is the best modern course that takes into account maybe the history and the future of disc golf both? Do you have any idea?
Well, I really like Idlewild.
Okay.
Yeah.
I think that's amazing. You know, I mean, there's certainly holes where power will get you an advantage, but most of the holes that power's got to come with control, or you're just deep in the woods, or
Just hacking out with an overhand.
Yeah. Exactly.
I like that answer, and that's not that's of course I look forward to watching people play. I know it looks a little mini golfy sometimes. People kind of get on it about being a little kitschy, but I think disc golf's a little kitschy, isn't it?
Well, I mean, kitschy, I don't know if that's the right word for it. I think different players come into the game with a history of a different style. Like, you play disc golf in Texas, you've got one type of terrain. If you play in Michigan, you've got a completely different type of terrain. And then you've got, the Virginia, North Carolina, and then California is something different altogether. So, people have a love of the disc golf they started with, which everyone thinks that, well, that's the proper disc golf, the way I grew up playing. But
everyone
I mean, the reality is
Coors Light because it was their first beer, right? It's that sort of thing.
Oh, I hope they can get past Coors Light.
Oh, me too. Oh my God.
But I mean, you'll find today's top players are extremely versatile.
Mm-hmm.
They can play on any type of course.
Nice.
Very nice.
So having the experience you have, you've watched the sport grow from a very young age to now this pandemonium that is disc golf right now. With the growing pains we're having now with, tournaments filling up so fast, not enough tournaments, a lot of players, do you see that balancing itself out in the next 5 years, or are we just in for a frenzy of disc golf?
Oh, I think it's going to balance itself out within the year, honestly. Yep. I mean, our problem is not really that we don't have enough courses. Our problem is that we don't have enough tournament directors.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And, people are going to see the opportunities to step up and run tournaments. And, as much as we glorify the players, like not everyone can be a top-notch player, but we do have people with amazing organizational talents who actually will get a ton of fulfillment out of being a tournament director or a league organizer or running a club or running clinics. And I mean, right now we've just got to get a little bit more versatile than our, comfortable pattern of, 8 C tiers in the area that we used to having. We can double that. We can separate out the rec and novice divisions from the other divisions. There's enough courses, and if there aren't, you just put some more in the ground, because at this point, Parks and Rec is loving disc golf because they're getting people out to their parks even during COVID where they couldn't do much else.
We have a couple of problem parks in and around Atlanta where they're considering putting disc golf in, just because the traffic at these parks, where normally kind of nefarious things go on, is deterring these nefarious things from happening in the park. So it's almost we've become kind of a crime busters in certain spots around Atlanta with that. So it's just kind of fun. Do you think the Pdga needs to look at relaxing some of the mileage restrictions on C tiers in the coming year so we can get more tournament directors in?
Well, the Pdga has already relaxed the mileage requirements on all tiers.
Oh, they have? Okay.
Within this past year because of COVID, and understanding that there has been a huge uptake. I mean, we've got 60% more members than we did, a year ago. And conversely, there's a demand in tournament. So that's already been relaxed. So absolutely, the rules are made to suit the conditions that we have. And if conditions change, the rules will change.
That's a good thing to hear from someone on the board of directors too, because I think everyone's kind of got this damn the man Pdga attitude at sometimes, like this is a rigid structure and we've got to fight to get in there, but it's a board of directors. It works. It's malleable. It's adaptive, just the way it should be, right?
Absolutely. I mean, the rules are meant to help everyone. Like if you've got, for example, 2 tournament directors who don't get along, who decide to hold a C tier 10 miles from each other when you only have about 80 players in the area, like that doesn't help anyone. So that's why we have the mileage rules. But, if you have thousands of players in your city, I mean, go ahead and have a C tier every weekend.
Do a couple of Wednesdays. Have a good time. Yeah.
Mhm.
So, do you think COVID was, between the media coverage growing, the Disc Golf Pro Tour growing the past couple of years, do you think between that and COVID and Brody Smith, we hit like the trifecta of growing the sport?
Yeah, I mean, it's hard to say what the most important factor was between those three that you mentioned. I honestly think people were very frustrated for recreation during COVID.
Oh yeah.
I mean, you saw, for example, ultimate players were playing disc golf in droves. I mean, they were all these frustrated ultimate players just like couldn't do anything. So in desperation, they reached out to disc golf.
Yeah, and now they're just frustrated disc golfers getting angry about missing putts.
Yeah. Well, for an ultimate player, disc golf is so excruciatingly slow.
Right.
Yeah. No contact.
But I mean, in all seriousness, I mean, there's so many sports that weren't allowed to go. Like anything inside was kibosh for the longest time, and athletes have to do something. So people found their disc golf course, and I mean, I know that you've seen families go out each with one disc, the kids trailing along. I mean, the families just got to do something, and they've seen the disc golf, so why not do that? I mean, I think it was just the sheer, we're a sport where you just use your own equipment, you can socially distance, everything's great. It was an opportunity.
Yeah, I clean pools for a living, and it's insane how many backyards I go into, and I was like, oh, there's a practice basket they got from Walmart or whatever, and I was like, it's crazy to see that. I never saw that 5 years ago.
So Elaine, you've been able to play disc golf for a little while now. What's your best off-course routine as far as staying in shape and being able to sustain for so a short period of time?
Yeah, I do a number of things. So first of all, I believe cardiovascular fitness is absolutely key. Yeah. So, I run, I do elliptical, I do walking. I try and make sure I have some good cardiovascular exercise several times a week. I'm not completely religious about it. There's times where I kind of slack off a bit, especially in those hot, desperately humid summer months. It's really hard to go out for a run. But then, I pick it back up in the winter. So I do that. Stretching absolutely is important to prevent injury. If your muscles aren't flexible, they'll tend to tear. So, getting the right amount of flexibility is good. And for strengthening, I've done a number of things over the years. For the longest times, I lifted weights in the off season, and I think that was really helpful. But since I moved to North Carolina 10 years ago, I found there isn't an off season.
Yeah.
I mean, like there's a couple of weekends, like nothing's going Christmas weekend. But
just about every other, I mean, here in Georgia, we've got Christmas Day, we've got Christmas Eve dubs. Yeah. We've got Christmas Eve dubs every year at Wills Park.
Oh boy. Yeah. So I've been, trying to work in a weight routine, sort of January, February, March, where there weren't too many big tournaments I was thinking about. I'm now trying to incorporate the disc golf strong routine. I've been working with Seth Munsey. And it's kind of interesting. I've found that I've somehow lost some core strength and some strength in my hip joints. And that was causing problems with me running. Like I got this really sore right knee. And I thought, oh no, I've got a cartilage tear. This is just,
here we go. Yeah.
I'll automatically assume the worst.
Well, but it ended up, it wasn't my knee at all. It was actually my hips and my core strength that was not, I guess I was losing a little bit of strength. And then that was causing my knee to go wobbly. And then my knee was just getting strained because it was wobbly. So I kind of fixed all that up. And now I'm trying to get back into a good, consistent throwing routine. And everything's kind of shifting. So I'm struggling a little bit right now. I'm a little bit frustrated with my game because, sometimes I release things properly and sometimes I don't. But
Yeah.
um,
I
Yeah,
mean,
so
once
those-
everything gets back in line, it'll tweak itself out.
that's like
It's going to
Yeah,
take
let's
one
hope
good
so.
throw, just one good release, and you're, I figured it out. We're back.
Oh, there
I'm
it is.
back. Elaine's back.
it's not that you got to work at it, and you just got to keep working at it. You can't slack off.
Oh yeah, listen to Elaine. I'm 890 rated. Don't listen to me about this at all.
Yeah, I mean, mind you, ladies and gentlemen, like, please have your pen and paper out for this. This is
a
huge.
lesson.
I'm learning stuff, and I've been around for 10 years, and this is huge.
Oh, and you thought you knew stuff.
I thought I knew stuff.
No, we knew nothing.
Hold on, Adam. Elaine, you said you live in North Carolina now. Where did you say you were from Canada? Or you guys went up to Canada for the?
Yeah.
Okay. And how? Where all of you lived? I want to know.
Oh, from childhood?
No, from Canada. Introduced to disc golf to now.
Yeah.
Okay. So I lived in Toronto most of my life. I did live for a year in Sweden, and I lived for a year and a half in Detroit, and then went back to the Toronto area. And for the last 10 years, I have lived in North Carolina.
That's awesome.
But I've also lived in England and I've lived in Switzerland when I was younger.
Okay, but those are just amazing disc golf areas.
Yeah.
Meccas.
Sweet. I've got to ask, you were on the Pdga board of directors for Europe for at least a year, wasn't it?
Yeah, I was just trying to be, I guess, more of a sounding board as someone who had experience with, the mothership as Pdga Europe was finding its feet and getting established.
Vanessa
That's
Van Dyken was on the show recently, and she had tried to explain that disc golf in Europe, and Sweden in particular, is a very different mindset than how we see it here. Did you feel the same way?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, it was much more casual. So, here we're pretty conscious of the rules, etc. And, when I went to Sweden, and I mean, that was a long time ago now. That was, 90 to 91. Okay. Many of your listeners may not have been born. But, so coming from, even back in the 90s, things were fairly established with players knowing the rules and respecting them and, whatever. In Sweden, it was just a little bit more, I guess, like winding the clock back 10 or 15 years. Players were just discovering the joy of throwing a Frisbee, figuring out what course design was, getting a few courses in, and, they weren't very uptight about things. It was, much more casual.
That's great. Do you think disc golf has lost some of its camaraderie over the years? Maybe out on tour.
Yeah, I mean, there was a time when I would have said, yes, it has. Mm-hmm. But honestly, I think in about the last 5 to 10 years, I've seen a much bigger upswing of camaraderie. And I think what it is the touring players are touring together. Mm-hmm. And,
right.
It gets awfully lonely if you don't get a few friends from those you're touring with. So I'm starting to observe some really wonderful friendships that are developing from the touring players with their shared life experience. And, some people just click more than other people click, and that's perfectly normal. But I feel like I'm seeing way more touring pros rooting for each other nowadays than I did, 10, 15 years ago.
That's good. I know we've had both Courtney McCoy and Scott Stokely both kind of say, man, I really miss my disc golf family on the road. It didn't feel like family anymore. So it's good to hear that maybe you see the upswing coming. That's really good. Do you have a favorite city to visit when you were touring and as you're still touring around a little bit?
Oh, wow. Oh, don't make me choose.
You don't have to choose one, but is there maybe an experience in the city that you remember that just kind of, you said, okay, maybe I had a thought about this city and then I went there and it changed my mind?
Well, my husband and I went and to Santa Cruz and San Diego 2 years ago. And, I had been to those cities previously, but, the experience we had 2 years ago, revisiting them again. I enjoyed it, I think, a lot more than I did the first time around. I think, maybe it's just having a little bit more means than I did the first time around, being able to rent a car and, really get around and seeing things. We went and saw the vineyards in Napa and that kind of thing.
Oh, gosh.
We had a good time. And I don't get to California very often.
Well, that's very nice. Yeah.
And that's where they are this weekend too, right?
Yep.
I know.
Down at Daylop. Yeah.
I'm very wistful. If it had been last year, I would have been spending like 6 weeks in California, I think, if I could have managed it. But it was pretty frantic leading up to this because I have been coordinating the Women's Global for the Globe in collaboration with, Vic Allen at the Pdga and the media guys. So it's been, very intense leading up to that.
And we were happy to be part of it. Austin and myself went and helped set up a women's global event here in Georgia, right outside of Atlanta. And it was one of the most fun disc golf tournaments we've ever been to. There were cardboard cutouts to take pictures with. There were bubble wands. There was candy. It was the most
Nice.
It was the just happiest, most empowering thing in the world. And we got to sit there and watch people make food. It was great. That was our job. Set up a tent, put out some cardboard cutouts, have a good time. So it was great. So.
And who served you that food? World champion Jenny Costa.
Jenny Costa was serving tacos.
Nice. Well,
Yeah.
of course. Yeah.
Of course.
She's
right.
in the biz. She and her
She's
husband.
she's married to the biz, I think. Yeah.
Mhm. And you probably noticed that the vibe at an all women's tournament is different.
Oh
isn't
yeah, it's so surreal. It's I sold somebody this. I wish that every tournament I went to had this vibe. Like it was just positive energy, positive, like going around everywhere. Like every card was cheering for somebody across the field for no reason. You don't get that at tournaments that I go to. And,
No, we're not cheering for Austin ever.
right, exactly.
That's great.
Well, when you're part of that 7% minority of PDGA members, it's just kind of an ethereal experience to have a course full of women.
Right.
Like you just don't see that, and it's just so exciting. The women are so excited to just see other women, meet new friends, and yes, there is competition, but the competition is kind of secondary to the celebration that women can actually take over a course. And
Yeah.
I think that goes back to the camaraderie question.
Yeah, I mean, a little bit of that. Oh, here we go. Sarah Nicholson says, I taught her everything she knows. Okay.
yeah,
She did.
that is true. That is true. Sarah, like I don't know where I'd be without Sarah. Somehow I lived my life before I moved to North Carolina and met Sarah. It was a
That's
flaw.
statement right there. She's amazing. We had Sarah on the show, and she was one of our favorite guests of all time. So, very, very good.
Well, don't tell her that I'm your favorite guest now.
Well, no, we don't tell anyone. Yeah, no, we're very benevolent about all that. Everyone's our favorite guest, even Scott Stokely.
So we've asked other women who we've had on the show about the best way to grow the sport moving forward. And one of the most reoccurring answers is put more resources towards marketing the ladies' side. Do you feel like marketing's maybe the key point right now to get more women to come play?
But it depends what you mean by marketing.
Adam wrote the question.
Yeah, it seemed it was Vanessa Van Dyken was big on this. She basically said, is it the chicken or the egg? Do we not watch as many women play because we're not being shown it, or do we not because of something else? If we were shown more women playing, would we watch more women playing it? It seems to make sense, but have you had any thoughts about what the most important thing to grow the women's game is?
Oh, so you're talking about the coverage of
the
golf,
empirical
playing golf.
giant.
So I mean that's coverage. I mean marketing is something different. Marketing is a campaign to go out and encourage specific, the women at large to come and play.
And kind of both, because I know the marketing the coverage pays for itself, so the coverage is what it's worth. But is there an entity, an organization out there that could push the women's game to the point where it just snowballs into a bigger thing?
Yeah, so women's disc golf is different than men's disc golf, obviously. So a larger proportion of men innately enjoy competition. They just enjoy competition. That just sort of, it seems to be genetic. I mean, it's not everyone, but a large proportion of men just enjoy competition and express camaraderie in terms of competition. Hence all the trash talk. You know,
I was just about to say, it's just shit talking.
Yeah,
exactly. And you know, it, like if you weren't competing against each other, you'd be kind of at a loss for like how to socially connect.
Yeah, if I'm not trying to take my buddy's money, I'm not. Yeah, I don't want to play with him.
So you know, I mean, that's kind of a long established, you know, way that men interact with sport. So when women do sport, I mean, some women are very competitive, absolutely, and seek these competitive opportunities. But what do most women do? So I'm going to ask you,
socialize with their ladies' friends.
Socialize?
I think is the best term.
They go to an aerobics class, right?
Right. Yeah.
They go to a yoga class. They
go to bicycling class, somewhere where they can chat with their girlfriends while they're doing the activity.
Oh God.
Yeah. So for
I have studied.
For most women, exercise is a social activity. It's not a competitive activity. It's a social activity. And like women are always going to classes. So how can we get more women to play disc golf? We need to have the social aspect of it. We need to make disc golf more like a class. Women like going to clinics. They like going to leagues. They like opportunities where they aren't just pitted head to head against a few people. They like to interact with a lot of people. That's just...
Dude, this is huge. This is all like linking puzzle pieces together.
My next question is going to be, what would you like to see more of? And you just said it, you know, clinic.
What can a tournament director do that's really easy to just bring more women in? I mean, we had Courtney McCoy doing clinics during the Women's Global event, and I heard Courtney McCoy say things from 40 yards away that have changed the way I played disc golf yesterday. You know, I mean, it's just that clinic was well attended. Everyone had a great time, and I think that drives your point a little bit too.
Mm-hmm. And so, I mean, with the clinic, I mean, it's the clinic, it's the going and playing a casual round after the clinic, it's the women connecting and meeting up for social rounds. And, you know, if you look at the disc golf survey that was done back about 3 or 4 years ago at this point, the driver for women in disc golf was one of the major drivers was skills development.
Mm-hmm.
Not winning.
Yeah.
No.
Skills development.
Getting better.
Yeah, getting better. Just that innate sense of satisfaction.
People see it on YouTube. I can't tell you how many open players you see nowadays that come up. I call it the YouTube era. Is you got these kids coming up, and they've grown up watching nothing but Paul Macbeth and Ricky Wysocki battle it out for the last 6 years, and now they're like coming into their bodies and learning how to throw the disc 600 feet.
But but with men was the number one thing winning. I mean, we're saying that women look at disc golf as I can get better at this, and that is satisfying in a way that some other things aren't.
Yeah.
Well, that's true too.
Yeah, women in general are collaborative, and men in general are competitive. And of course, I mean that's simplifying it vastly. But when you look at it like that, you start to kind of understand the drivers that have led disc golf to be 93% men, because we've organized it around competitions.
That's
right.
Primarily
to do is ratings and competition. Yeah, I mean,
and I mean, even with the leagues are about, like, I mean, do you ever not keep score? Ever?
Right. And I never
do.
buy in. You know what I mean? That same thing.
Yeah.
Just in case
you're putting down money. Yeah.
Right.
Exactly. I mean, there's sometimes I go out and play and don't keep score. Like at Flyboy over the weekend, I definitely didn't keep score.
Now it's not just because like you're playing really bad and you've just abandoned the scorecard.
No, we didn't keep score from the beginning. It was a bachelor party weekend. We were just throwing frisbees.
Sarah Nixon, I get you. I very get you. So don't feel like you need to keep the sunglasses on. It was I'm glad you had them on, but if it's bugging you, take them off. This is the thing we do.
Well, I can't see the trash talk that Sarah Nicholson is.
Oh, it was good. No, she's like, I think it was a good one. She's I get you. I very get what you're saying. I think is what you're trying to say. Yeah. So.
What she's saying there is I'm her idol.
Yes,
Oh,
she
yeah.
said big game.
Right up the
Big
gate.
game, Elaine.
She taught you everything.
Yeah. Oh, we got a fun one for you.
Yeah, so we got a local here in Atlanta. I don't know if you know him. His name's Kevin McCoy.
Never heard of him.
Yeah, well, he said he tried to caddy for you one time, and you fired him after 2 holes. And I just got to know why. Why did you can him? I gotta know. It's probably some smart remark.
Not
Well, I mean, do you
right.
want to know the real story, or do you want to know the Kevin version of the story?
Both.
Well,
were-
Kevin's stories are always good, but I want to hear Elaine's story.
Yeah, Kevin wanted to be fired so he could tell people that I fired him. It's
That
a point of
sounds
pride for
absolutely
him for some, Kevin reason. But yeah, I was my caddy was late, so Kevin was my pinch hitter caddy.
Okay,
It's
so
like
you
a true
give him
baseball player he is.
Would you give him another shot if he needed to caddy for you? If you need to get some walking in, get sobered up or whatever?
Oh, absolutely. He can carry the bag, walks more or less straight, keeps close to me. That's all
More
we
or
need.
less straight.
Just don't say anything, right?
Yeah, I mean, he'll shut up if I tell him to.
Okay.
Oh, I love that.
I
I'm
mean,
gonna
his
stick.
life
I'm gonna
is
tell him
court,
next
yeah.
time he gives me guff at a tournament. I'm gonna stick Elaine on you. I'm gonna call Elaine. I'm gonna have him talk to you.
So, Kevin and I are world's double champions.
Right
Indeed.
for co-ed, right? Yes.
Yes.
He's a fun guy for the most part. Mostly fun. I love that. Okay, this question is not quite as fun, but I think it's important. Obviously, Paige Pierce said some things this week that made some waves. A little bit about the PDJ, a little bit about the USWGC. She tried to be as diplomatic as possible. As a PDJ board member, how do you balance Paige's role as a role model or an influencer in the sport, especially for young women, against this very kind of like temporary but kind of bad publicity that may have come from those comments?
So, what our players think about the courses, if they've got some constructive feedback, if there's something causing them a frustration, something that we could do better, we love to hear the feedback. And, players sometimes give that feedback kind of privately to the PDGA or to the tournament director or to an official. And sometimes they do it publicly.
Mhm.
And, people do different things at different times, but, all feedback is good if it is feedback based on, some struggling for its feedback. Based on
Reality. Yeah.
if there's a situation that is a real situation, it's not gossip, it's not preference, it's a factual situation which they found not to be up to standard.
Mhm.
And I'm sure that the reason the page went public with it is because she knew other people saw that situation too and were frustrated with it. One of the situations was crossing fairways. And so, hearing about that, I one thing I want to investigate is, well, how did that happen? Was it known ahead of time? Were the proper mitigation factors taken? Were they meant to be taken but didn't happen? Did someone just miss a beat? Did someone not think ahead? So, I mean, there could be any number of factors, and I don't want to jump to any conclusions about why that was. But, I've talked with some players who attended, and they said the crossing fairways did cause a problem.
Mm-hmm.
So now this is, it's a fact. If it caused a problem, that's a fact. So now what we have to do is take that information and understand why it happened and how we could prevent it from happening again, and putting measures in place. So one of the measures is that for any major, the courses should be reviewed by an independent body. It might be a marshal, it might be a PDJ staff member, it might be, a trusted and valued course designer in that area. So, that's something I'd like to just ask a few questions about: who checked out the courses? How was it that issue is not seen?
Yeah.
So that's
Are
one
you
issue.
saying that the PDGA goes out now and checks out the courses prior to the tournament?
Yeah.
Or
Yeah.
you're saying they need to?
No, they do.
Okay.
But it's this slipped somehow is what I think.
Okay.
I don't know what the circumstances were. I don't know if the course wasn't checked out for some reason.
Right.
I don't know if it was checked out and something changed, or there was supposed to be preventative measures to make it work that ended up not being in place.
Right.
I just need more information.
No,
I got you.
We're not trying to put you on the spot at all. It was more a question about Paige finally kind of exerting this, and whether or not that was something. And this may be not a question that anyone's comfortable answering right now. We're 5 days removed from this. But if it's something where did Paige do this, and was it a
spiteful move, or was it an unspiteful?
No, I'm sure it was.
Oh no. I mean,
was-
I wouldn't ever think Paige did something for spite. I mean, she's a
No,
very
never for spite.
professional and classy player.
Correct.
Okay, yeah,
Absolutely. And
definitely
that's
not
not,
spiteful.
I'm not trying to insinuate that. It's more a question of does Paige speaking up have a gravity to it outside of the complaint she made? Is this
I
one of the
think
first
some of
times?
what she said was a calling attention to something that was a deficiency.
Sure.
But then some of it I believe was preference too. So playing each of 3 courses one time.
And not having the practice time is what you.
Yeah. So that's a preference. Some players like to play the same course several times, and they feel they can put their time and effort into that one course and get to really know it. And many tournaments are like that. Many of the national tours, many of the disc golf pro tours are just one course. This is the women's nationals. It's different. Okay. It was not a surprise it was going to be different. It's just different. So I think that is a matter of player preference.
Sure.
So when a player expresses their preference, that's something we listen to and we take note of, but we're not necessarily going to change the way we work, because this is the point of the women's nationals is competition, but it is also that incredible camaraderie and chance for professional and amateur women to mix together in social settings. And that's always been the magic of the women's nationals.
Great. And I didn't mean to put anyone on the spot, and I don't mean any ill will toward anybody involved in the situation. It just seemed to me at this point, this might have been a watershed moment for someone to say, hey, I got a problem, and did it in a very public way. But I appreciate you answering that as honestly as
it's happened before that people have had complaints and been public about that. I don't know if you've ever caught any feedback that players have had.
Nothing from somebody as big as Paige at a time as big as this, it feels like. I mean,
I think there's been a lot of incidents. Yeah. But
we're
this
going
one's
to we'll get into fun stuff now. How's that sound? Sorry about that. We've got you. It's about 48 minutes in, so we'll try to keep you for another 15 or so. Okay. But we got some fun questions now, so we'll get away from the hot stuff. Sorry about that.
Okay.
Yeah.
The fun questions. I mean, like this is like, oh gosh.
These are fun questions, right? No. So I mean, you said you're a scientist, correct?
Yes.
Does the MVP thing just kind of all like click to you? The neutron, atoms, electron, whatever.
Oh.
Was that an instant click for you?
Let me tell you. It's totally satisfies the geek in me. Totally.
Oh yeah.
And I never really understood the 2-piece discs.
Yeah.
And then when I started reading MVP's blurb about the science behind it, like that black outer rim is made of denser plastic.
Yeah.
So that when you spin it, it has more gyroscopic motion because it's heavier on the outside, and then it spins longer. And it's like, oh, well, I mean, I was completely 100% sold.
All right. So I give you the keys to the factory. What are you creating?
Okay, there's 2 discs that are on my hot list right now. There is a slightly understable mid-range, and I know that's coming. And then I'm looking for...
Is that a future Elaine King signature disc?
Like a Matrix or a little faster?
No, less, more
less
unstable,
stable, slower, like more like back towards like the Meteor, be a Buzz SS times.
Yeah, I mean,
Comet.
I like the theory, but the theory has too deep a rim. Like I've got very short fingers. Yeah. So I need something with a shallower rim that will, I can throw it flat and have it flip over like the Theory, but it's got to have a narrower rim, like a shallower rim.
Theory's
I
like
get
my
that.
favorite.
And what
So, yeah.
next?
And then I need just the absolute right, perfect, stable driver that I can throw into a headwind, and it's not going to like dive bomb hyzer on me too early, and it's not going to flip over.
7-8 speed kind of thing.
Oh no, I want an 11.
You want 11?
Yeah,
oh, you
yeah,
I
want
want
yeah.
11. I can't go higher than that because then the rim gets like really wide and I can't get my hand around it.
That's
But
kind
I'm
of where
looking
like
for just
I guess, yeah.
reliable stability in the wind. Like I want a wave that won't flip over in the wind.
An
With a little bit of
overstable
bite.
wave.
Yeah.
But still has like the plastic of like the fission, right?
It could be fission. It could be just regular neutron plastic. And MVP makes a lot of really stable drivers.
Oh,
And then
yeah.
they make a lot of
Yeah.
nice straight flying drivers. And I'm looking for that just perfect middle ground.
Aren't we all?
Aren't we all?
Yeah, I think I might need to get one of the guys on the team to just like beat up a disc until he can't use it anymore, and then that'll be perfect for me.
Give it to
Somebody
Will
tag
Davis
Matt
and
Dollar.
kids and let him throw it against the garage door. Yeah.
So if you could play with any celebrity in the entire world that doesn't play disc golf, who would it be?
Wow, that's a remarkably tough question.
You can do one alive and one dead if you want. Be a triples team.
Jennifer Garner.
Oh,
She's
nice.
going to be awesome player.
Yeah,
She's got the
Mental
length. She's got length. She's got the index with
She's got the lanky arms. Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah, she's very fit and coordinated. And she's a tough chick.
Will Davis said he'll definitely have his child throw waves against the wall for you. So yeah,
Nice.
well, that's a good one. Is there anybody who has influenced disc golf throughout its history that doesn't get enough credit?
Ooh, wow.
Oh, yeah.
Fun question.
Welcome to Frolfcenter, the goofy show with the sunglasses. Yeah.
Oh gosh, I feel like I could insult so many people by this answer.
Oh, I mean that'd be
With not
fun.
mentioning them.
We're here for it.
Ooh, wow.
Is there anybody who's influenced your game that maybe doesn't?
Steve Hartwell.
Steve Hartwell. Okay, tell us about
Yeah.
Steve Hartwell.
Yeah, do you know about Steve Hartwell?
Not enough.
He doesn't get enough
You,
credit.
tell me one fact about Steve Hartwell.
His last name is Hartwell.
I know where Lake
Okay.
Hartwell is.
Okay, so back in the dark ages, when you were going to a new place and you wanted to know if there was a disc golf course there,
Mm-hmm. Okay, he's disc golf course review, huh?
you wrote to the Pdga and they sent you this bundle of paper
Oh.
on which was printed all the disc golf courses.
He had the
Really?
So
atlas.
Steve Hartwell was the guy who took that bundle of paper and converted it into ones and zeros and put it on the internet.
All right, so he is responsible for actually getting us to the course, basically.
The first online course director, he conceptualized it. He worked for Lotus 123, which have you ever used Excel?
Yep.
Yeah.
That's all based on Lotus 123. That was the first spreadsheet program. And
You
Stephen
are so
Joy,
intelligent. Like, we don't deserve you.
Steve and Joy both worked for Lotus, and then Steve, has been passionate about the Pdga and is still very, very active in the New England community. But Steve brought us the first course directory and brought the Pdga into the digital age in a very public way, where the public could then access the information. So I feel like he is not a name on everyone's lips and should be.
Yeah.
If we dropped your name, would you think he would come on the show?
Of course he would come on the show.
All right, we're going to call Steve Hartwell. We're going to find out how to get a hold of him.
Okay.
We have a viewer question from Kevin McCoy, and he wants to
Never
know,
heard of him.
Never heard of him. Where can you find good poutine in North Carolina?
Oh, no, you can't.
You can't.
No,
I didn't
You
think-
can't.
Nope.
Cannot. Okay,
sounds-
there's a lot of things you could not get in North Carolina.
Tim Hortons, poutine. Yeah.
No, poutine is so exotic you can't even get that. I struggle to get tahini.
The what?
Tahini. It's what you make hummus with.
Oh yeah.
You
Okay.
ever had
Garbanzo
hummus?
beans,
Yeah.
Well, you need it.
Chickpea
chickpeas.
peanut butter kind of.
Yeah.
Chickpea butter.
You
Can't find tahini. When I go to make a fruit cake at Christmas, cannot find mixed peel.
Okay.
Damn.
Um,
Nothing without that mixed peel.
I'm from Buffalo, New York, and you're from Toronto, and I have a hard time finding cheese curds. I was a cheese curd kid.
oh yeah,
So hard to
yeah.
find.
You can't get that
Culver's.
here.
There's like one farmer's market in the outskirts of Atlanta that has them sometimes, and that's it. So
I found maybe one place to have dim sum
Nope.
in North Carolina. It's in Durham anyhow. It's hard to
Okay.
get certain things, but
It's
you can
dim
get
something,
Mexican
huh?
food a lot. Lots of Mexican food.
yeah, I mean, there's a lot of really good Mexican food. We're from Atlanta and Durham,
A lot
and
of hot dogs too. There's a lot of hot dogs.
I love hot dogs. But anyway, anyway.
Hey, we got another one here. Henry Hamilton says,
Oh yeah, here we go.
"How well do you remember the greatest metal hit ever recorded?"
That's the funniest thing is because you said you top out about 300 feet, but you've had
It smashed pole at 800.
I can throw a lot farther downhill.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, I definitely remember that. That's a moment I'll never forget. So I'm standing on hole 18 on Snow Bowl in Flagstaff, Arizona. Snow Bowl is a ski hill. You know, I'm standing on the Black Diamond ski hill, and you know, you've got this tee, and it was misty. I mean, it had been sort of raining on and off, and it was hard to see much. I had practiced with a group of guys, including Ken Climo, and I wish I could remember who else was with them. And I had been throwing drivers because, of course, it's 850 feet. You need to throw a driver, right? And they explained to me, no, Elaine, you see how that driver's going just like left into the woods over there. You need to throw mid-range. So it's like, okay. And then they explained it to me. And it's like, okay, I understand that. So then I threw a couple of mid-ranges, and it's like, oh, well, that works a lot better. It goes a lot straighter. So on that throw, I knew I needed to take my mid-range. I needed to throw it as close to that first rise as I dared, because then it dropped down after that with just a titch of hyzer and, you know, just let the disc fly. And I was able to execute that exactly the way I wanted to. And so it just stood up after a while, and it just kept going straight. And it kept going straight and straight and straight. And so we were all cheering. It's like, whoa, look how far that's going. And, you know, it got really hard to see it. And I finally, at the end of its flight, I just could barely see. I think it went left, and it looks like maybe it hit the ground down there. So then, you know, 10 minutes later, after we climbed 850 feet down the Black Diamond ski hill,
you guys had a walk down it?
You know, was there telling us what happened. And let me tell you, if it had not hit the basket, that disc would have been down at the chalet.
Oh.
And I talked later that week to someone who had actually done something similar to me, but he missed the basket. And he said it took him like 3 throws to get back up the hill from where he went to.
Here's the funny one. Courtney McCoy says that snowball round was the day that she taught you to throw uphill. You taught her.
I remember that so fondly. You know, Courtney was so cute. Oh my gosh, she had these little pigtails, and she was just like this ball of excitement. And like, okay, so we're playing on a mountain. We throw 16 shots uphill. And, you know, after about hole number 5 of Courtney throwing it directly into the mountain, you know, I just couldn't take it anymore. It's like, Courtney, you need to start with your arm low, and you have to end with your arm high. Start with it low, end with it high. You know, like, just stop throwing into the freaking mountain right in front of you, Courtney. But, fortunately, she's very good at taking instructions. So she did exactly what I told her and deuced that hole. At which point I thought, Elaine, you idiot, why did you tell her that?
You just giving up your lead.
Collaborative, not competitive, Elaine. Collaborative, not competitive. Remember.
But
Yes,
but
yes.
that's the thing. It's like I was actually really glad to see her throw it properly, and I got a lot of satisfaction in being able to coach her to her full performance.
Oh,
So is that a girl thing?
no, that's a heartwarming. That's a good.
No,
story.
that's a girl thing. You don't get one tip from a guy, and that's it. You don't get 2 tips. You get 1.
Yeah.
Oh my Jesus! Kevin said 16 holes throwing straight uphill. The last 2 are downhill.
Yeah, that's
That's
Kevin.
exactly what it was.
Why would you sign up for that?
You're masochist. I have no idea. Yeah.
Those 2 throws, man.
Absurd.
Those 2 throws are worth it. Yeah.
It's kind of like fairways of camp, but at least you get to have golf cart.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
All right.
Nobody had golf carts. That was an unthinkable idea.
Yeah, unthinkable.
So, Elaine, you've been here in the South for a little while. I got to know, have you tried Waffle House?
I have tried Waffle House. I thought it was actually a good breakfast.
And what did you
remember
have?
what you had? We ask every guest if they've ever been to Waffle House and what their order is because we're from the South and that's kind of our thing, I guess.
I'm not
It's
sure what I
kinda-
ordered, but like, when I love breakfast at any time of the day.
Oh, yeah.
Always could go for breakfast. I like the hash browns. I like the sausage, even though it's not good for you.
No, never.
I like my
Yep.
eggs usually scrambled.
For sure.
Yeah, I can take a bit of bacon too.
Yep, there you go.
We normally called it upside down night at my house when I was growing up. Like, we'd always have breakfast for dinner. It was just upside down night. That's what it was.
Yeah.
I did
As a
that
former
too.
resident of
As a kid, that was Anyway.
Yeah, well, I was saying that without saying that.
Sure.
What about Tim Hortons or Dunkin' Donuts from Canada?
You got to go with Tim Hortons.
Okay.
Yep.
All right,
Yeah.
that's fair enough answer. We knew that was coming. I think we knew that one was coming.
So we're all foodies here. If you're celebrating a big win, what's the celebratory meal?
What are you getting after number 300?
Ooh, okay.
Yeah.
Well, it's probably going to be some good pasta with some nice red wine.
Perfect.
Pasta.
What kind of red wine do you like? What's your you have a type? You have a region?
I'm kind of partial to Pinot Noirs lately, but
Okay.
I do drink anything.
Yeah, it sounds like us. Yeah.
Sounds like
I drink anything good. Like I enjoy a decent bottle of wine.
Yeah, I'm a Côte d'Aron guy, but I can really get down on some Malbecs and some big red blends. But that's my thing. Côte d'Aron's my thing. Anyway, sorry, great question. I know. Who's your favorite foursome to play a casual round with, and who's your favorite foursome to play a competitive round with?
Well, let's do the competitive round because that's got to be Sarah Nicholson, Sarah Cunningham. And then, the third, there can be any number of thirds.
Any number of Sarahs.
Yeah,
Any
we've
number
had
of-
Holcomb and Nicholson and
Let's throw
Claire.
Sarah Holcomb in there.
Wozniak, Sarah.
Sarah
Sarah
Lamberson.
Lamberson.
Oh, it's Sarah. Oh, what is her new last name?
Sorry. You said what were your first two and who's your third?
So Sarah Nicholson, Sarah Cunningham. I know lately Andrea Eaton's been kind of fitting in.
Yeah,
Very
she's been
good.
chiming in lately.
Yeah.
She's been in here in the comments.
Giving
too.
you some. It's giving you some run for the money.
Yeah, I can't see anything. These
Oh,
sunglasses.
she's saying hello, Elaine.
Hi.
Yeah.
Hi.
Yep.
Yeah, for a casual round, that's got to be my husband with me. Lately, we've been playing with a local fellow called Dave George. Not the famous Dave George from Charlotte.
Uh-huh.
This Dave George we call Dave George the Younger.
The young.
It's like the other Dave George, like the other champion. Yeah. That's funny. That's really good. And you've been married for quite a while. Do you have like a one-liner piece of advice for folks who are getting married and want to stay married?
Yeah, it's like it's going to be a cliche, but it's it's give and take.
Okay.
It's give and take. It really is. You're not
Should be
going
that
to
simple, right?
you're not going to have things just tailored to you. You have to tailor to the other person as well. My husband's
love
probably laughing this, thinking like he tailors to me all the time.
Well, Elaine, thank
You
you
are
so
the
much
queen.
for coming on. We got one final question for you.
Okay.
Do you have any questions or advice for us?
Okay. So,
God, don't hit it too hard.
do you guys ever wear rose-colored sunglasses?
No, but I will.
I've had a pink. I have a pink pair.
I have
with,
pink.
like a pink fading, but not
Yeah.
rose. No, never like technically
No.
rose colored.
I got purple and pink are my other go-tos.
Yeah, the rose-colored ones, when you go outside, it's quite amazing.
Oh, the polarized roses.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Okay.
I do wear polarized every day, and that's what these are. But I don't ever wear the rose ones. No.
It would match my skin tone really well, I think.
I don't know. Give it a month in the sun, bud. Yeah. All right. Well, awesome. Yeah. That's it.
Hey, I've thoroughly enjoyed this last hour and 10 minutes. Elaine, thank you so much. I've got an entire notepad worth of notes here. I can't wait to work on my game some more. Thank you.
Yeah,
Thank
we're
you so
gonna
much
we're
for
gonna
coming
give
on
you the
show.
big screen. Let you tell people how to support you, what they need to look at, how they need to follow you, all that good stuff. And we're gonna say goodnight and say thank you
Okay.
very much.
Good night, Elaine.
Good night. So, if you want to follow me on Facebook, I'm Elaine King Pro Disc Golf. On Instagram, I'm Disc Golf Elaine. All one word, Disc Golf Elaine. I don't do Instagram as often, so be patient with me on Instagram. I'll eventually answer. If you really need to get a hold of me, text Sarah Nicholson or Hannah Macbeth. I meant to say Hannah's my fourth also for the round too. Can't forget her. And you can also support me by buying the Elaine King signature disc Fission Photon. And that disc, if you throw that with a lot of good snap, will go a really long way for you. Thank you everyone for listening. Really enjoyed it. See you the next time.
That was good.
That was great. Thank
That
you
was
so
awesome.
much,
Fantastic.
Elaine.
I'm so happy.
I'm still in shock we even had her on our show.
Yeah, it's kind of.
How did we do that?
I hope we did Elaine justice because we weren't sure that we would because we're who we are.
It's
She is way more intelligent than us. Holy! I mean, I knew she was smart and I knew she was a scientist, but she talks
just
with
hearing-
just like the etiquette of a scientist, and you're like,
My mind was blown by the collaborative and competitive thing.
Yeah,
that
yeah,
entire
absolutely.
kind of.
It puts so much.
Yeah.
It puts two and two together because Sierra was posting about like having a collaborative women's thing tonight at the church course and going out to beers afterwards, and I was like, whoa, it just like
Wait,
light bulb just dinged off.
And speaking of, I'm going to do it again since you said Sierra. The Atlanta Women's Disc Golf, they need whole sponsors. It's $30 for the Southeast Women's Masters Championship. I'm putting the PayPal up again. Support them if you can. Find them on Facebook, Atlanta Women's Disc Golf.
So my T or T sign may or may not be me pushing Forrest into the water via graphics by Amanda.
That is
Oh, you
that is an
haven't pushed them in the water
incredibly
yet?
bold.
Yeah, I already sponsored a hole, and I said if it's somehow me pushing Forrest into the water, 2 thumbs up.
Okay. If you need help with Photoshop, I got you. So awesome. I think that's all we got for tonight, isn't it? Austin, you want to tell the people?
Yeah,
goodbye?
I'm dropping into Verdansk.
What? Verdansk.
I'm going on the Call of Duty. See you guys later.
Bye.
Bye.
That was awesome. Hey, guys, once again, I'm Adam. Thanks for watching. That was awesome. Elaine King, we appreciate you so much for coming on. That was incredible. I think our world championships on the show is now up to like 32 or something ridiculous. We got to figure that out. And
Yeah.
we're going to print a disc instead of doing like when Adam hits 900 disc, we're going to do how many world championships have appeared on the show disc. So
Ooh,
it's going to be
nice.
Anyway, we're not going to announce next week's guest because we're waiting on Monday for a scheduling snafu. So keep an eye out on social media around Monday to figure out who our guest is next week. We're seeing what's going on. I'm Adam. I'm out of here. Have a good time. Bye.
It's Cody. Check me out on Instagram. I don't think I've ever told you what my Instagram is, so it's just going to be a mystery. Have a great night, and we will see you next week no matter what.